Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, don't forget to join the family by subscribing. Over here we do reaction videos, and if you're returning, you know how we like to do. Let's get into today's reaction.
Hi everyone. So I felt like that I need to start a story time. So the addition of this story time is Ancestry DNA Part 1. Okay? So I just wanted to give a little background on my journey on Ancestry. So as some people know, that I was working at Southern Pines at the time, and rewind. So technically, I was working at Ingersoll Rand. And at the time I was working there, I seen on my Snapchat that one of my Snapchat friends, shout out to Tanisha Dunlap, clock it, that she posted up that she ordered an Ancestry DNA. So I was like, it's on sale. Let me go give it a try. So as I ordered the DNA test and everything, it finally came in the mail. So of course, I was nervous as fuck to take it, and I took it, and it took about 3 weeks for the results to come back. So when those results came back, I was nervous to open it, because I was like, I'm not gonna know nobody on here, not a soul. So I opened it. The first thing that popped up was I had 2 first cousins that was listed on there. Now mind you, nobody is gonna pop up if you ain't never took an Ancestry DNA test. So shout outs to Facebook. I started typing these people's names in. I just started, searching everywhere on Facebook, and I didn't know who was who because them 2 first cousins didn't have a picture on there. And it's real helpful if you got a picture on there so people can find you. So I started doing my background or whatever and everything. And it took some time. Baby, it takes some time to be on there. And so that's what I did. I took my time at work and started doing research. I had a printer, I had a computer, baby. I was looking up everything. I was going from the computer to my phone, So then I started coming across people, inboxing people like, hey, I have a question about an Ancestry test, or results or whatever, can you reach back out to me? I started sending people messages and stuff. I wasn't scared. I wasn't scared to send no message to nobody on Facebook because I want to know. And then came the time where a lot of people started writing me back. So I heard back from this one lady, which is my cousin on Cleon's side. Her name is Tracy Cohan. Shout outs, clock it. So me and her, started, doing our little research. But this research was only being done on Cleon's side, my biological father's side. Because mind you, that was the closest relation I had to me, kin to me on Ancestry, on my results. And so, it's crazy because shout outs to Tracy. She knew somebody that knew somebody that still had an obituary that pieced all the pieces of the puzzle together. So once those pieces started falling together and I seen that obituary, I said, had a little malfunction there for a second, but I'm back. So once I got the obituary, I was like, the 2 girls that are my first cousins are listed as granddaughters in this obituary. So I was like, okay, we're going to narrow these folks down. So I started narrowing these people down, honey. So I said, okay, out of all the older people on there, only one person that's left that don't have kids. So, broke it down. I found out where Cleon was. Shout outs to my cousin Jennifer. Clock it. And I gave him a visit. And I ordered him a DNA test. Went to the place. He took the test. Of course, we had to wait another 3 weeks to find out. But it seems like his test came back faster for some reason. I don't know. But his test came back. And I was nervous as fuck to open it. I could have opened it on my phone. But I had to wait till I got home to open it. Because the laptops say different than the app do on your phone. So, yeah, honey, I got home and it popped up and said Cleon Berry father. So y'all already know how I feel. Like, oh my God, I can't believe DNA actually discovered this my daddy. This my daddy. This is my father. So, now that I discovered that, it was time to move on to go find the mama situation. So therefore saying, I'm going to come back for part 2 on how I found my mama.
One thing about Ancestry, it will find out every little nook and cranny, secret, mama, daddy, whatever.
All right. I had to get home and get my shit together. My hair look a mess. But at least I got some and got edges too. Okay, purr. Y'all see it? Purr. But anywho, I felt like I just need to go ahead and give y'all part 2. So I'm gonna go ahead with part 2. So coming into, okay, so when I found Cleon, I call myself trying to continue the search for my mama's side of the family. But my closest relative on my mom's side was an older man named Weldon Potts. Now, and then my next closest kin on there was a lady named Regina. We're not going to get too much into Mr. Weldon, and we're not going to get too much into Regina, because let's be real, you guys, DNA don't lie. DNA don't lie at all. So I highly recommend, if you have any concerns or doubts, not too much on my grade, I would recommend getting the Ancestry DNA test. With that furthermore being said, don't be scared to take the test. Now, if you feel like that ain't your mama, that ain't your daddy, you don't know your daddy, find your daddy. In my case, it was both. I didn't know mama nor daddy. So, I wanted to find out. So, okay, after finding Cleon, it was so hard for me to start looking for my mama's side of the family, because nobody didn't know nothing. And that was the hardest part. Nobody knew nothing. And so, shout outs to my cousin Tasha Patton and her husband Gregory Patton. Tasha actually took the time, you guys, to do all that research for me, because at this point, when it came to my mama's side of the family, I gave up. I gave up, and I'm gonna be honest, honey, I wanted to just say everything, and I wanted to just start ignoring Tasha messages, ignoring her phone calls, but I couldn't do that because I know she was more into it, not only for me, but she was more into it because of her husband. Her husband is my cousin. He was my, second or third cousin? I can't quite remember. So, therefore, when it came to Tasha being a really big help She came across some things, like we narrowed it down, y'all. Like we narrowed it all the way down. Okay, well, I'm his second cousin because his dad or something has to be, we putting shit together because, everybody already know if you my first cousin, your mama, your daddy, my aunt, and my uncle. If we your second cousins, somebody, aunts and uncles on down the road. So we still going at it or whatever, And one day Tasha called and was like, I think I found your grandmother. And I'm like, ah! And if you know, I grew up calling my aunt grandma because my cousins them was calling her grandma. That was their grandma. You know what I'm saying? But she was like my grandma growing up. R.I.P. Pauline Wilmore. But we established that when we found Louise, got Louise on the phone, we talked to Louise, and Tasha was telling her my background on, okay, so I'm helping this young lady find her mother. She's already found her father. Then Tasha gave Louise the little go-to on who my daddy was. And so when she said the name, Louise was like, oh my God, oh my God. So y'all, the oh my gods went to happening. So I just couldn't believe it. So when Tasha called me and was like, I think I found your grandma, she went to crying. And I'm like, oh my God, girl, really? And so that's when Louise had told her, well, my daughter, which is Angie, has been looking for her daughter that she gave away 30-something years ago. Honey, Louise went to go find this book that she had everybody's birthdays wrote down in. So when she came back to the phone with Tasha, she hollered out, baby girl Patton, 09/20/1989. So I'm like, okay, this woman know my birthday. That's weird. So the weirdest shit started happening. So I got a name, Angela Patton, and I got a picture. And I was like, oh my God, I look like this woman. Y'all, when I say look just like her, neck and all, we got the rolls in our necks, honey, little puny head, honey. Look just like that damn woman. So then, of course, she was telling me I have siblings and this and that. I have sisters, which, you guys, if you ever dealt with a closed adoption, the adoption agency makes the parents fill out a background confidential form that only the child will be able to see once they get older. So then I was like, okay, I already know I got sisters, but I want to meet them, So the friend requests started coming in on Facebook. Boom, boom, patting this, patting that, patting this, patting that. And I'm like, these must be my sisters. So the crazy thing is, I met my sisters and my mom and my grandma the weekend of my older sister, Tawanya. I met them when they was headed to Atlanta for her birthday. So I had to wait till they got back to put something together to come up there and meet everybody at the same time. So of course, when the time came, which was March the 5th, March the 7th, one of those makes a year. It will make a year when I found Angie, Vanessa, and all them. So when it came time to go up there and meet them, of course I had to have my bestie for the resty, Jazz, to go with me, because I was nervous. I was like, I don't know what they're going to say. I don't know what I'm going to do. I just don't know, but they had already been talking to me, asking me, what you like to eat, this and that, you drink, da 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 da. So I gets to Charlotte. Everybody was still running around at the time. Me and Jazz sat out on the porch until somebody got home. And got, so we was just sitting around, just chilling, I was still nervous because it's like, okay, I'm meeting everybody for the first time, and it was just weird. It was awkward. But they made me feel at home because I look just like Angie. So with that being said, we met, we reunited, we rejoiced. It was like a homecoming. I've been gone for 35 years, it was like a homecoming. So to get into the questions I had for Angie, we'll get into that in part 3. Bye.
With closed adoptions, it's hard to get all the information, so I'm happy Ancestry was able to help her out. Like, this is good.
All right, you guys, I'm back with part 3. I came up the road to associate part 3 with one of my sisters. She has been the one that I have been conversating with since day one, since I found him. She is also the one that is 2 years older than me, so we're only 2 years apart. So pretty much I left off at part 2 with questions I had for Angie. So of course, I was, when I first started inboxing Angie, she was just throwing everything out to me at one time. But I also had questions like, well, what happened, with the whole scenario of you even making the decision to give me up for adoption. And so her answer on that was, at the time, I was born in the year of Hugo, 89, and she said at the time it was 5 of them living in a 1-room apartment. Pretty much, to me, that sounds like a studio. And so pretty much Hugo hit. She said the apartment was flooded, no power, everything was ruined. So she didn't want to bring a child into that situation. Now, mind you, I was about to be born, but she went into the hospital around the time Hugo did hit. She was in the hospital. So that the kids remember her going to the hospital pregnant, coming home with no baby. And so that's when, like I said, she made that decision. Now, at the time as well, she was going with a guy named Victor. Victor is the father of my 3 other siblings. And one of my siblings is deceased. He's actually 2 years younger than me. So I am 2 years older than him. And so going into the situation of her giving me up for adoption and her dating a guy already, but also I was born out of her relationship between her and Victor. Obviously, Cleon is my father, and I asked Cleon today, I was like, well, was I a one night stand baby? He said he can't really recall, because obviously I was, though, because, they didn't really have a relationship going on. It was a type of, hey, how you doing? I ain't seen you in a while. But Cleon knew my grandmother before he knew my mama. Mind you, because Cleon is older than my grandma. And so, so they kind of just like ran into each other and had a little fling. During that fling, I was conceived. And so once she found out that she was pregnant and everything, she was living down here in North Carolina, but Victor was still living in New York. But Victor ended up moving down here to North Carolina to help Angie with her and the girls. And so during that time, he seen her pregnant, and he automatically knew it wasn't his. The oldest child, which is my oldest sister, she wasn't his, but he had already been in the picture helping her take care of Tawanya and Victoria. And so, and when he came, he seen she was pregnant. So, boom, like I said, Hugo hit. She went to the hospital. She felt like she didn't want to bring a newborn into that situation on their living situation. And so that preceded the moment of her deciding to give me up for adoption. And which her wishes, though, was that she wanted her child put in a 2-parent household. So she wanted me in a 2-parent household, and they made it happen. The agency made it happen, and I was placed in a home with my mother and my father. And so, with that being said, as far as the questions goes, I asked her, I was like, well, why Victor? Because he agreed to sign the father information for the agency, for my adoption. So I was like, but why he didn't try to talk you into keeping me? Now, mind you, that's a question we really don't know for sure, because Victor is no longer with us here on this earth. And that would be something we all would like to know, including his kids too. So once another question I had for Angie was, well, why you didn't give me up to another family member? And she said she thought about it, but she knew her aunt was just as crazy as her mama. They sisters. So, but, another question was, well, why, you didn't give me up to grandma? Grandma said she wanted me, but she also said Angie was grown at the time. She was 24 with 3 kids already. And she said she was grown. She let her make her own decisions. And so it was more questions asked as time went on, because my sisters was growing up and they knew that she was pregnant, and she never came home with the baby. But then she got pregnant 2 years later and came home with their brother, Junior. God rest his soul. And then, so it was always questions at a younger age for them. So she finally came out and told them that, yes, y'all have another sister out there. I always knew I was adopted when I started going to the mailbox in Wayville to check the mail, and I seen Children's Home Society mail popping up in that mail. I'm like, I'm adopted. I mean, I must be adopted or something, So my parents ended up coming out telling me that I was. And so I went to plundering one day, found some stuff in my mama's room. I found a biological background paper that was filled out back in '89, the original paper, but I can't find it no more. And then I found a book that said all about me, and it had a baby picture in there of me, and that was my first time seeing myself as a newborn. And so from then on, I was like, I'm adopted. Never thought back then to set out to try to find them then, until, like I said, last year. So with that being said, I got my sister that's gonna be on most likely my part 4, and she's gonna pretty much tell her point of view and her side of the story as coming up with our mother Angie and our grandma Louise and her father Victor. Stay tuned.
It's been a while since she uploaded a video, and I can't find her part 4, so this is all I found. back in the day, it was even harder. So I couldn't imagine having to decide for my child to have a better home and I would have to give them up. So a lot of mothers like this, they are very brave, and she had to make a hard decision, but it seems like that she made the right decision, because this young lady seems like she's outgoing, she's nice, she's funny, and she didn't have a bad off life. She was in a house with a mother and father, and she was raised by them exactly like her mother wished. I'm happy Ancestry was able to help her out. And if any of y'all have closed adoptions or anything and trying to find your family, I would highly suggest try Ancestry. I don't know why people scared to do it, but it helps out a lot, especially your family history if you was adopted. So drop down in the comment section what you think about this story. Have you ever tried Ancestry? What have you found out? Do you have any family secrets? And if you are returning, you already know how we like to do it. Like, comment, and share this video. And if you are returning, subscribe and join the family. You guys, I hope you all have a blessed day. Peace.